नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीमुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7. Chapter entitled The Son of Drona Punished. Text 50. 40? 49 last week we discussed. So Kumar. Nakulaha Sahadevascha Nakulaha Sahadevascha
Nakula Sahadevascha Yuyudhano Dhananjayaha Yuyudhano Dhananjayaha Bhagavan
Devaki Putro
Bhagavan Devaki Putro Ye
Cha
Anye
Yaha Cha
Yoshitaha
Ye Chanyeyascha Yoshitaha
Ye Chanyeyascha Yoshitaha
Nakulaha Sahadevascha Yuyudhano Dhananjayaha Bhagavan Devaki Putro
Ye Chanyeyascha Yoshitaha Nakulaha Sahadevascha Yuyudhano Dhananjayaha Bhagavan Devaki Putro Ye Chanyeyascha Yoshitaha
Nakulaha Sahadevascha Yudhano Dhananjayaha Bhagavan Devaki Putro Ye Chanyeyascha Yoshitaha
Nakulaha Sahadevascha Yudhano Dhananjayaha Bhagavan Devaki Putro Yaschanto Yasya Yotishaha
Nakula Sahadevascha Yuyudhano Dhananjayaha Bhagavan Devaki Putro Ye Chanyeyascha Yoshitaha
Nakula Sahadevascha Yudhano Dhananjayaha Bhagavan Devaki Putro
Nakula Sahadevascha Yuyudhano Dhananjayaha Bhagavan Devaki Putro Ye Chanyeyascha Yoshitaha Nakula Sahadeva Cha and Yuyudhanaha Satyaki Dhananjayaha Arjuna Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Devaki Putraha
Putraha,
the son of Devaki,
the son of Devaki,
Lord Shri Krishna,
Lord Shri Krishna,
ye
ye, those,
cha
cha,
and
and
anye
anye,
others,
others,
yaha
yaha, those,
cha
cha, and
yoshitaha
yoshitaha,
ladies.
ladies.
Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Srila
Translation: Nakula and Sahadeva, the younger brothers of the king, and also Satyaki, Arjuna, the supreme, the personality of Goddess Shri Krishna, the son of Devaki, and the ladies and others all unanimously agreed with the king. Translation with repetition. Nakula and Sahadeva,
Nakula and Sahadeva,
the younger brothers of the king,
the younger brothers of the king,
and also Satyaki,
and also Satyaki,
Arjuna,
Arjuna,
the personality of Godhead Shri Krishna,
the personality of Godhead Lord Shri Krishna,
son of Devaki,
son of Devaki,
and the ladies
and the ladies,
and others all unanimously
all unanimously
agreed with the king.
agreed with the king.
So this doesn't has a purport, and even the next verse 51, and after that, so I'll be reading by myself. Tatra, verse text 51. Tatraha marshito bhimas tasya shreyan vadasmritaha na bhartur natmanascharte yohan supta shishun vrata. Translation: Bhima, however, disagreed with them and recommended killing this culprit who, in an angry mood, had murdered sleeping children for no purpose and for neither his nor his master's interest. Text 52. Nishamya bhima gaditam dropadhyascha chaturbhujaha alokya vadanam shakyor idam aha hasan iva. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: Chaturbhuja, the four-armed one, or the personality of Godhead, hearing the words of Bhima, Draupadi, and others, saw the face of his dear friend Arjuna, and he began to speak as if smiling. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Shri Krishna had two arms, and why he is designated as four-armed is explained by Sridhara Swami. Both Bhima and Draupadi held opposite views about killing Ashwatthama. Bhima wanted him to be immediately killed, whereas Draupadi wanted to save him. We can imagine Bhima ready to kill while Draupadi is obstructing him. And in order to prevent both of them, the Lord discovered another two arms. Originally, the primeval Lord Shri Krishna displays only two arms, but in his Narayana feature, he exhibits four. In his Narayana feature, he resides with his devotees in the Vaikuntha planets, while in his original Shri Krishna feature, he resides in the Krishna Loka planet far, far above the Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky. Therefore, if Shri Krishna is called Chaturbhujaha, there is no contradiction. If need be, he can display hundreds of arms as he exhibited in his Vishwarupa shown to Arjuna. Therefore, one who can display hundreds and thousands of arms can also manifest four whenever needed. When Arjuna was perplexed about what to do with Ashwatthama, Lord Shri Krishna, as a very dear friend of Arjuna, voluntarily took up the matter just to make a solution, and he was smiling also. Om Agnanativarandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshadarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gauravaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamala Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganavatanutam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Saganalita Shivashakanutamsha Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. So thanks Sadananda Prabhu for my opportunity to speak. So as I said last week, just repeating the words of Prabhupada. So, in today's verse, today we'll be covering this 3 verses, 50, 51, 52. And so I shall briefly recap some of important points which we discussed in the last class. So we got to know those wonderful qualities of Draupadi. So 6 qualities. So I'll mention Dharmyam, Nyayam, Sakarunam, Nirvyalikam, Samam, and Mahat. So those are the wonderful ideal Vaishnava qualities where Draupadi exhibited here, that we all learned in last week, heard about her glories. So all her 5 sons were killed by this Ashwatthama, and Arjuna had caught this Ashwatthama alive and had brought him in front of Draupadi and other members of the family, so that everyone decides what to do about this such situation, because he was a son of their guru and also a Brahmana. So he wanted Arjuna didn't want to take any decision of his own, so he brought Ashwatthama in front of everyone and want to take consent of everyone and then decide the further action. So in last verse, I didn't have much time, so I just wanted to add few points to the last verse number 49 of 7th chapter, 1st canto. It says that that dharmyam, in accordance with principles of religion. So Draupadi, she was well versed with all the principles of religion, and nyayam and sakarunam. So if you just see the translation which Prabhupada said, nyayam means it's a justice, and sakarunam means full of mercy, or we can say it's a compassion. So both goes against justice and compassion. If a judge wants to be compassionate to everyone, he can't give proper justice. He can't be a proper judge anymore. So, but here there's a balance can be done by getting through this wonderful pastime of this pastime, that we can get to know that how she was able to balance both nyaya, justice, and sakarunam, full of mercy, that is compassion. Because there's always in this world, there's always been an argument on the topic of justice and versus compassion, where justice has to be shown, compassion can't, and where compassion will be shown, justice can't be given. So, but here we can see that woman being a softer in nature, so she has more of compassion in her nature, but at the same time she also wanted to give justice. She is justifying her word, saying that Ashwatthama shouldn't be killed, he should be left alone. So very importantly, we have to learn that this quality that we can get only by when we get through such pastimes, so that we can properly take decisions in any situations. So it's not just because of some emotions or some kind of attachment that we decide things, but it should be according to the principles of religion, and it should also have justice to that. Then we can properly decide to anything. And further, it is called nirvyalikam, so without duplicity in dharma. So we being Vaishnavas, we should be always be as simple in our life. Saralata e Vaishnavata. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur Maharaj says Saralata e Vaishnavata. So simplicity is the first principle of a Vaishnava. Being crooked, being deceitful, being manipulative, this is not the quality of a Vaishnava. So here she is exhibiting that quality to be non-duplicious, and samam, equity, and further it is mahat, glorious. So, as I said before, women are more compassionate and very soft in nature, and they become more devoted and dedicated to the deities, to the spirituality, to any of that very sincerely and seriously, very fast. But men use a lot of their rational thoughts to decide things. They don't believe or have faith immediately. It takes a lot of time. So it is said that man perishes because of because of having a lack of faith, and woman perishes because of putting the faith in a wrong place. So probably it is some swindlers, or probably on something else. So the faith has to be properly, faith and devotion has to be properly put according to Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So we all should have this parameter or this criteria to take any decisions in our life. It should be based upon Guru, and it should be Guru's words, and it should be based upon our scriptures, and it should be based upon and sadhus. So Guru, Sadhu, Shastra should be pramana for any of our decisions to be taken. So because a false compassion or a misplaced compassion is what sometimes we generally do, that, oh, Prabhuji, so okay, fine, let's forgive him. Or sometimes we may not take it very seriously, and we may mislead him by not being serious at a certain point of time, and that remains a standard thing. And we may not really teach him properly or give him proper lessons. So misplaced compassion, like Bharat Maharaj showed misplaced compassion, or the compassion on that deer, that this was misplaced compassion. Or the Sita showing she was so soft at heart that she believed Ravana's words, and she just crossed the line. So in many of these pastimes of scriptures, is not some arbitrary held beliefs or some age-old grandma stories, or something fairy tales which we see in the outside world, but there's whatsoever it may be, but still there's a lot of learning in that, lot of things a person can improve in his consciousness, in his to become more moral, to become more sober and gentle. So all such great qualities we get in when we go much deeper in this pastimes. So this pastime teaches a lot of information about how to make a decision. So it is making a decision is an art. So we should learn the art of making decisions. So here when we see that how Ashwatthama, he's decided to leave this Brahmastra weapon, is because out of fear, isn't it? It's out of fear that Arjuna would catch him, and he would kill him. So just to protect himself, so he left this Brahmastra weapon. So can anyone mention any of some emotions or feelings? Anyone? Anger. Wonderful. So taking anger-based decisions. So anger-based decisions is, you can see from Mahabharata that how Gandhari, when she got to know that Kunti gave first birth to a child, so she was very angry upon herself that her child was in her home for a very, very long time, more than a year, and he was not coming out. So she was very much angry, but that Kunti's son would be probably a next heir to their kingdom, because there was no child of hers. In fact, Dhritarashtra also got a child from a maidservant. I don't remember the name. So she hit her womb very hard. So as a result, because of envy and because of anger, and the children were born were also with that envy and anger. And also we can see the same Gandhari, because of anger on Krishna, she cursed Krishna after the Mahabharata war, that all Krishna's Yadu Vamsha should completely vanquished, should be completely destroyed, because Krishna was a cause. She thought that Krishna was a cause of the death of all her 100 sons. So, any one more emotion? Revenge. Yeah, in the revenge, there are many things. Anyone can mention any revenge? Yeah, revenge is Ashwatthama himself. Ashwatthama is even this guy. So even after he was being caught, and we all know the story that he was left, but still he was vengeance. He had a lot of vengeance, and out of revenge, he again left a Brahmastra weapon to kill the last hair of Pandavas, who was in the womb of his mother Uttara. So it was a sense of revenge, but he was not successful. So all of his attempts was a failure. Anyone? One more? Affection. Yeah, affection or affinity or attachment was like Karna was so much attached to or a lot of affection or he had for his friend Duryodhana, that he had to tear apart his moral values when it came when the question came with the friendship. So he had to give away the moral codes of dharma when he was so much when Duryodhana wanted him to do many of unful acts. So like that, so many things we can go through that. So we can see that whole Mahabharata is teaching us how to make proper decisions. So we have to learn that decisions shouldn't be based upon the feelings, just like love shouldn't be based upon the logic. So decision should be based upon a logic and the open-mindedness. So then you can have a proper kind of decisions. Logic can't be based upon, love can't be based upon a logic. Then it only leads to the disappointments. So a lot of such things which we go through these pastimes, we have to go in depth in them, and so that we can get to know a lot of such wonderful wisdom gems lying within that. Otherwise, you can just think, okay, Draupadi was a Vaishnavi, so she was so compassionate, she wanted to forgive him. But she was also justifying her actions. So today's verse, we saw Nakula, Sahadeva, Satyaki, Satyaki and Yudhishthira, Satyaki and all the other members of the family, they all unanimously agreed with the king. What was that? Let's leave this Ashwatthama, so let's not trouble him anymore. So it's not that Draupadi it's not that she's showing that simplicity. As I said, Vaishnavata, yes, Saralata, is the simplicity is, yes, at the same time she is giving a reason for that. The reason, a lot of other reasons we heard from the previous verses, why she is mentioning that. So being Vaishnavas, also we should consider all those aspects, all those parameters into consideration, and then we should decide. Not that, okay, I'm a devotee and I'll be very simple in my heart, at the same thing like that. But Arjuna was very simple in heart, but Krishna wanted to fight the whole war. The whole Bhagavatam was spoken because of Krishna and Arjuna wanted to be very simple and very sober, very gentle. But we have to also have a justice in our actions. So that many a times we also remain saying that we have a lot of crookedness within all of us. But simplicity is very hard to achieve, to practice. Just to give an example, most of us, when we are in the school days, when the teacher is especially teaching maths, probably I have done this. So when teacher has taught, she was turning her back and writing on the board about the formula, about the solving that solution, solving the problem. So she would go through different steps and she will explain, and after that she would turn to all the people, all the students, and say, have you all understood this? So we all of us, yes, we understood. Even the last bencher, they would also say, yes, understood. So it shows a sense of kapata. So because you may think a teacher may say, if I don't say I don't understand, people will think I'm dumb, I'm fit for nothing, I'm not clever. So we do this generally. Have you understood anything? Generally after the class, you understood what I spoke? Yes, Professor, we understood everything. So that kapatya is what we have to give away. That duplicity is what we have to give away. And also that kind of things that, which is very much detrimental to our spiritual progress, to decide on our own, that has to be given off. We should rather, if we ask the teacher, ma'am, I don't understand, she would definitely teach. Probably 2 times she still understand. She would say that, okay, come after the class to my office, then I can explain to you. And probably that man would become a best student, loving to the teacher. So, because he wants to really understand what it is. So there's one wonderful story that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj says. It is in the Upadeshopakyana, that book. So once one grahastha, in one house of grahastha, one sannyasi came. And they were so happy that their guru has come to their house, and he properly took care of all of his needs and comforts. And he had prepared a elaborate menu for the lunch, and he fed his guru. And the guru, after having his lunch, he said that I need haritaki. So haritaki is something that is that kind of mouth fresheners. It's also helpful for the digestion in Ayurveda. There is a small seed, so haritaki. Ayurveda, they use that very much. So I want that. So he went to the shop and he got that haritaki, and he brought out and just offered to him. Then the Guru said, "You fool, you don't know how to offer this. So you should remove the inside seed, and the skin is what we have to take and chew, and we get good flavor and mouth freshener, and it's good for digestion." Then he said, "Sorry, Gurudev, I did not get to know how to use this. Thanks for this information." And he properly opened the haritaki, removed the seed, and he offered this skin of that. Then Guru was very pleased. And it was on the next day, and again the Guru finished all of his rituals, and he was ready to have his meals. So then he had his meals. Then he asked, "Today I don't." Then he got the haritaki. No, I don't. Today I don't want haritaki. I want a elaichi and a cardamom. So that is also a mouth freshener, good for digestion. So then he said, "Yeah, Gurudev had told that we have to remove the seed and give the skin. So let me do the same thing with the cardamom, with the elaichi." So he removed the seeds and threw away, and he gave the skin to the Guru, and he offered the elaichi's skin. So then he said, "You fool, what are you saying this? What you brought here?" "No, Gurudev, you told that yesterday that this has to be, seed has to be removed and only the skin has to be given. So I repeated the same thing." So this is the typical example that how without asking few things, we judgmental to our own self, and we judge few things without consulting or consenting our authorities, thinking that we know better, and we act. Because in spiritual world, it's all about Krishna there, and we have to just ask what he wants to be, what he wants us to do, and we have to do that. Just like this property or estate belongs to India Heritage Foundation. And the people who come and work here, they has to ask a person and has to follow his things, and they have to satisfy him, and then they can be all good and well. So any worker or any mason or anyone. So very important is that we have to learn that art of being simple. So this is very much important that in this pastime, that we have to understand that we all have to have a stable mind with a stable intelligence, and we can, in any worse situation, we can have a stable decisions which we can make. If mind is not stable, and stability of mind can come only when we are not being emotional to any situation. The anger, grief, anxiety, empathy, and things like that. So a decision should not be based upon the feelings. It should also be justified according to the religious principles, according to the moral codes, morality, things like that. So that we can have a positive kind of decisions made, and it will be good for everyone. So we should all have a stable mind. The best stability of mind can come by proper chanting of the holy name of the Lord, with proper association of the devotees who are sattvic, who are in goodness, and the good food, sanctified food, and with a proper learning by reading scriptures. So this how we can improvise and stabilize our mind by not being agitated or getting attached to anything. Because attachment and affections is very much in all of us. We attached to certain things, or have affection to certain people, or things like that. So this is what, by this we can't take a proper decisions in our life. So because it so happens that situations often is not in our control, but the response is in our control. So we also discussed about the response and the react, so in our last class. So we have to be our decision should be a responsive one. It's not a reactive one, because many people impulsively behave, and they mistreat us. So many of the situations, probably it may be because of heat of the situation, or lack of maturity, or because of lack of sense control. So they may impulsively react with us. But it is in our hands how to respond to such situations. So for that we should have a stable mind and stable intelligence, and that can come only when we are with the good association and all our spiritual practices. So this is very much important. We can learn from this that in such worst condition, that we all have to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So yes, it's true, having done whatever is humanly possible, but at the same time we should surrender to Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord Krishna, so that we get the right type of solution at the right right time, like that. So even if you just see, as I was saying, that this Ashwatthama left this Brahmastra once again to kill the last hair of Pandavas, that is Parikshit. So again he is impulsively acting, and out of vengeance and revengeful. But here again Uttara, she took the shelter of Krishna. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Avankaram. Same verse she also repeats. And Krishna showed all the affection and gave protection to Uttara. So, whether Arjuna taking shelter, or Draupadi taking shelter, or Yudhishthira taking shelter, we should see that we should take shelter of Krishna despite all of our humanly efforts. Still we have to take shelter of Krishna to take a proper decisions for anything as such. So bhakti or devotional service, actually our chanting, our reading, our association should lead to take a proper decisions, proper response, and this would we would say that yes, there's a real transformation has happened to a person. So if we are the same person, and we have to really look back and see why this process is not working upon me when it's working upon so many people. Actually, there's one instance. One devotee was doing book distribution for an American, and he went to a company, and he just barged inside the company without any permission, and he met the CEO of the company, and he was just explaining to him that he wants to sell his books to him. So he was very happy, and he wanted to take one book, but he said he forced upon and said, please take this book also. So then he said, okay, fine, no, I'm good with this, let me finish this and let me take that. But he was so much forcing, and he was so much putting a lot of pressure on him to take more books, to take whole Bhagavatam set, Chaitanya Charitamrita set, like that. So then the CEO became really angry, and he said, without permission you come, and you are making this whole ruckus. So so please go away. So then this devotee started shouting at him, yelling at him, you know, you're going to die in hell. Please take these books, things like that. So then he was saying, what is this? You are being spiritual. You are so angry. Your process has not made you sober and gentle. And that American said, no, I was so angry and things like that. If I would have not read this Prabhupada books, I would have killed you. So I just became angry now. So we can just see in our own lives that how we are all transformed to a great extent by taking this process of chanting and reading and association, because we all come to different caste, creed, race, things like that. We all be together, stay together, eat prasadam together, and have one goal, one supreme goal. So it's humanly impossible in an outside world. But here, having our age-old process, this is very much possible even in this times. So we have to have this maturity to make some decisions, and we should be diligent in making some decisions. Otherwise, we would have a serious consequence for any of situations. So we have to consider different angles while making decisions, and also have a maturity. Maturity is not a product in the market, but it is over a period of time, while sincere and serious chanting and sincere and serious reading of Srila Prabhupada books, we would definitely get situation that we can definitely see how Prabhupada transformed these hippies, and they were drug addicts and LSDs, and how within a short time they gave up all their misgivings, all their shortcomings, and started giving Bhagavatam class, sitting in the asana, and they were so exemplary to the rest of the world. So here, coming back to this verse, so the mistakes, the man is to err is the statement, we all make mistakes. One of the defect of a human being among the four, Karna, Patava, Vipralipsa, Pramada, and Brahma. So one is to make mistakes. We all commit mistakes. Everyone commits mistakes. But that mistake should be not intentional. It should, even if it is an accidental, it's okay. It should not be intentional. So mistakes we commit, it should not be intentionally. We shouldn't be committing mistakes. Then Krishna would also not help us progress spiritually. So it should be accidentally, if it happens, yes. Just like Parishit Maharaj also put the snake on the Shamika Rishi. It was accidental. It's not because of intention. Why, you may ask? Because he never did such act before to any Rishi Munis, or mistreated or ill-treated any Rishi Munis. Or after he got to know that he will be dying in next 7 days, he was remorseful and he was repentful of his action, and immediately he took a drastic step to atone for the sin. So one is important is we have to be identify that yes, I have a mistake and I have to improve. And second is sincerely you have to put an effort to improve by praying to the Lord and seeking the guidance from the devotees. And this how we can improve ourselves. And one more case in the Chitraketu. Chitraketu also offended Shiva when Shiva was addressing all the Rishi Munis in one of the forests, having Parvati Devi seated on his lap. So the Chitraketu laughed at him, not because not to mock in a way that that Shiva is doing something wrong, but Shiva, he wanted to make to the world that that was not proper in front of such an audience. But Parvati Parameshwarao, so that is a different contest altogether there. So, but when he got to know that it was incidental, so when he got to know that he made a mistake, then he asked forgiveness from Parvati, and he took it wholeheartedly, not that started justifying with all the grudges and things like that. So in such all of these pastimes, when we teach our children or we ourselves read this, we get to know, yes, if I get to know this, I should not become angry because I am only right. Atmavat manate jagat, Prabhupada says that. So that people think I am only right. People should just follow what I believe or what I decide or what I think. That is very much wrong. So one should have a proper sense of detachment, as a proper sense of maturity, and a proper sense of dependency on the Lord, so that we can, in the worst situation, if we do some accidental mistakes, we should regret for what we have done, and we should apologize for what you have done, and we should atone for what you have done, and we should not repeat again for what you have done. So this how we can improvise ourselves, because it says, even Christianity says that sins are burnt in the fire of repentance. So we should really repent for what we have done. So when we acknowledge our mistakes, we become humble. When we remember those mistakes, we can remain humble. So to become humble and to remain humble is very much important. We should acknowledge it, and we should always be remembering that, yes, I have committed this mistake, I should not do this again. So Ashwatthama could have been apologized. Yes, because in this verse, it has been said that in verse number 51, that na bhartur natmanas charte yoham suptan chushun vrita. So Bhima is one more important, we have to understand from this pastime, is that na bhartur natmanas charte, that Bhima is very angry on this Ashwatthama and he wanted to kill this Ashwatthama. So there's a difference of opinions here between the Draupadi and to Bhima. We'll come back to that. But here he's saying that Bhima is not agreeing to this, that he is to leave him without harming, but this culprit has to be punished by killing him, because he killed all the 5 sons, all innocent children when they were sleeping. So why? Because it was na bhartur, for no purpose, he has simply killed. So he has not satisfied his master, that is bhartuhu, gopi bhartuhu padakamalaro dasa dasa dasa. So gopi bhartuhu means master. So he has not satisfied Duryodhana also, because Duryodhana didn't like this. It's not an act of a warrior. And being a Brahmana, his work is not to do such kind. So he also never sanctioned his actions. And natmanas charte, so neither for himself, because he was anyway he was not related to this Pandavas, no way. Just his guru was his father was their guru. So not that he would be killing these 5 sons, he would be getting the kingdom. For not of his, for his own self-satisfaction or selfish needs or nothing of those sort. So why at all he has to do this? So when he got to know this, Ashwatthama should have asked forgiveness or asked some sorry or apologized for his actions, but Ashwatthama didn't do that. So even if we sometimes if we get to know and we apologize, but it should be a true apology and it should be a sincere apology, because sincere apology attracts forgiveness. If we are not sincere in our apology, in our sorry, just like Americans now, Indians also, for any damn thing, sorry, as if sorry is easily available, things like that. But very sincerely and with wholeheartedness, with a true apology, when we get to know, that can happen only when we have apathy for others' feelings. When we have empathy for others' feelings, then we can really, from heart to heart, there's a true apology we would ask, because it would attract real the forgiveness. At the same time, when we have this true apology, we would not repeat the same mistake again. If we are not really sorry to what we have done, we would again repeat it. Again, we would say sorry. So here Ashwatthama is not at all asking for forgiveness, but even if he has asked forgiveness, it should be with a proper attitude. So attitude behind the apology is very, very important, that we also sometimes fail to do that. So again, one more point here is, one more important point. What is the great thing is, we can see that Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead, and he does not have to serve the ultimate. Actually, he serves the ultimate purpose. Ultimate decisions is what he can do that. Shishyasteyam sadhimam tvam prapannam. So in Bhagavad Gita also saying that Krishna has told whole Bhagavad Gita, but it is left to Arjuna to whether it's decide to according to his own will. So you have to see here, but rather Krishna what is doing here, Arjuna should have taken, asked Krishna, you tell the best, what is the best for me. But Arjuna was, after hearing Bhagavad Gita, after Mahabharata or things like that, but here he shows the leadership of how a leader should be, that he want to take the consent of everyone and then come to a proper decision. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such Karunya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, such Audharya, that is wonderfully Ramanuja says, Mama Kulanatham, Mama Kula Devatam, Mama Bhogya, Mama Bhagya, Mama Sakshat Karana Chakshakadaham Sharanam Prabhati. So it's wonderful that Lord's activities are inconceivable. That Krishna has to ask Arjuna what he has to do, please tell. Or Krishna has to ask Draupadi, what is your decision, please tell. Or Krishna has to ask Yudhishthira, what is your decision. What is Nakula Sahadeva, Satyaki and other ladies' decisions. You decide. So you can see this wonderful quality of Krishna in this pastimes, that Krishna wanted to take everyone's opinion and then conclude the thing here. He was not say, like everything to that, just listen me. No, it was not the case. So he's giving sufficient time for others to express their consent. So generally we have any meeting, generally it happens in temple president and all these things. He would have decided something, okay, we have to do like this. But he has to give a sufficient time and a space for others also to express their concerns. So otherwise it will be like bullying. So this wonderful management thing, leadership quality where Krishna is showing to all of us that that Krishna was even Supreme Personality of Godhead, that he was so humble, down to earth, trying to show us, lead us, teach us how a devotee should have such wonderful etiquettes, wonderful qualities with him. So, and one more thing which we can see, that Bhima didn't agree. He was with the Draupadi or others. Bhima wanted to kill this Ashwatthama. So there is a conflict of decisions here. So at the same time, we have to see the Krishna and four-hand form. That explanation is there in the verse number 52. That Nishamya Bhima Gaditam Draupadyascha Chaturbhujaha. So Prabhupada says in the purport that Sridhar Goswami explains in his purport that why Chaturbhujaha has been explained, Krishna being a two-handed form, Dvijam Sarvadevesham Radha Lingita Vigraham. But here again, why again he has a four-hand form? Just to make sure that there is no further fights, or to console or to pacify Bhima, at the same time Draupadi. Or Bhima could say, you Draupadi, you heartless woman, your own children has been killed and still you are showing compassion on this. And Draupadi would have said, you heartless Bhima is your own guru's son. Let's forgive him, because he has only one mother and she'll not be having any shelter. So we would generally get into such mode and start fighting that. But even being Krishna in the center, so they had an ultimate purpose there, a higher will there. So they were all silent, but they were all okay with that. So similarly, when we are in Krishna, when we keep Krishna conscious in center of our lives and do all our activities, so despite having all the difference in opinions, we can continue respecting everyone. So that is very much important in our life. So it doesn't mean I don't accept your opinions or your decisions. At the same time, I don't respect you. No. So this is one more learning here, that Krishna in this pastime we can, so keeping Krishna conscious center, we can continue respecting everyone despite our differences in opinions. So I think so we are running short of time. Is 8:45 is I'm over time. So I'll just go through this and yeah, any more points? I'll just go through. There's a lot of points I've discussed, but in the future, in the further classes, you can do. And I'll just conclude here by saying that the Krishna in a idam aha hasan iva. So in the 52nd verse, he said, smilingly, he looked at Arjuna. See, this is a very grave thing which has happened that when someone dies in a family or some accident happens, it's very painful. So 5 children has been killed, and this man has been brought here, the person, the culprit. So he's asking everyone's consent. And finally, after hearing Bhima and Nakula Sahadeva, everyone agreed to gave their own consents. But he looked at Arjuna smilingly, wanted to take up the matter. What is it? Arjuna was perplexed about what to do with Ashwatthama. Lord Krishna, as a very dear friend of Arjuna, voluntarily took up the matter just to make a solution, and he was smiling also. So the whole, actually, the Krishna's life was centered around how to give happiness to everyone, right from being in Gokula or in Mathura. So despite a lot of dangers which was coming to his community, without worrying about himself, he took a lot of risk, life at risk, trying to fight with his demons and try to protect his whole community. And he was playing this flute and all those things just to satisfy the cow, satisfy the devotees, gopis. Otherwise, why Krishna at all he has to play the flute? So just to satisfy, because it gives satisfaction to the Vrajavasis. And even you can see whenever Draupadi came, Krishna came, Draupadi calls in 2 instances. What are the 2 instances? When Draupadi calls Krishna, when she was about to be disrobed. Second one, Akshaya Patra. So Krishna comes. Krishna wanted to give pleasure to and protect Draupadi and wants to save her. And also in terms of Arjuna, for Yudhishthira. And despite all of this, winning so many wars, Shishupala Vada, his kingdom was there, or Jarasandha Vada, his kingdom was there, or Kamsa Vada, the whole kingdom was there, or after the whole Mahabharata, the whole Hastinapura was there. But he never took to himself to rule that. He just gave away everything. So he handed over the throne to others. So here the Krishna has a strategy that he wanted to make sure that to have a long-time relationship or long-time friendship is what Krishna is looking at. Not that I won and I would rule it or add on to my kingdom. So Krishna's the only wish is to give happiness to others. So that is the great thing which we can learn, that he's smiling and he wants to give happiness. So how we all can do this by not being obsessed with our own self. Rather than that, we should our needs, our interest, our concerns should not be based upon or centered around ourselves, but our needs, interest, and the concerns should be centered upon others, so that there is a HQ quotient, happiness quotient. You give happiness to others, and you get back that happiness. So Prabhupada says in one of this that when you give happiness and joy to others, you receive the same happiness and joy it's like a mirror. You're the people who relate, you are the people who are around you, they are like mirror. So when you just see your mirror and you are happy, justly when we see our mirrors also, we smile and see how we look better. Not like sorrow. We don't sit in front of the mirror while crying, how I look when I cry. So we generally in dentists or hospitals, dental hospitals, a lot of mirrors, smiles. So very importantly, we have to understand that our needs, our interests, the concerns, needs and interests should be centered upon others. then we can have a happier life around. Any questions? One question? Yeah. Yeah.
When did he become a Chiranjeevi?
See, Ashwatthama was, yes, he was blessed to be Chiranjeevi, and it doesn't, see, everything comes and lines upon in that pastime. One thing we can see, he can't be Chiranjeevi just because he got, see, no one can be Chiranjeevi in this world. See, there is a different concepts there. Let me make you understand. See, even when Hiranyakashipu wanted to become Chiranjeevi, he could not, Brahma himself could not. Brahma, who is a creator, himself, he could not give him eternal life. So, yes, he was being blessed, so probably he got be cursed also. In fact, Krishna, after this Ashwatthama left Brahmastra to kill the Parikshit, Krishna curses the Ashwatthama. So that could have been the worst condition, but he gave a chance before doing that. So your death can be in terms of old age, or death can be in terms of disease, or death can be death of your happiness, death of your the stable state of mind, and it can be anything. So death is imminent in this material world. So Chiranjeevi means not that we are going to live eternally. As a souls, we are all eternal, but we have to give up this body. So that concept, we have to look into that exactly, because I don't know about that. But if you just logically, if you just think, no one can be Chiranjeevi in this world, and everyone has to leave this body, and we have to go. Like Ashwatthama, Vyasa, then Bali, Hanuman, they're all Sapta Chiranjeevis. So, but can you see them now? They're Chiranjeevis, right? So where they are? So doesn't mean that Ashwatthama is Chiranjeevi, so we should have a temple of him and start worshipping. That's also not true. So as a souls, we all Chiranjeevis. So probably the duration of to be Chiranjeevi also matters. So probably to certain duration, not to a eternal duration like that. To be Chiranjeevi for humans, probably to be live for 100, 120 years. That he lived to his fullest life. That was when we do this Shashtabdi Purti or Sahasra Chandra Darshana. They do this puja after 60th birthday or 80th birthday or 90th birthday. They do that, they live to the fullest extent. That probably it is the Chiranjeevi. So no one can be Chiranjeevi in this world. So yeah, having known this, but still Krishna gave a chance, but afterwards Krishna himself cursed them. That you lose all your Brahmanic qualities, and you will become, you lose your intelligence. So he becomes mad after that incident. So anyway, having said this, thanks for all this opportunity, and thanks for patient.